When the town of Elkton first approached our firm and hired us to do the design, they emphasized there were 5 important aspects they wanted to get out of the project. And these are things we call the critical success factors, things that would make this project a success. The first item is, they said, and obviously the most important, they wanted the new plant to be able to meet the nitrogen and phosphorus standards of the Chesapeake Bay. But more than just meet them, they had operated a plant for years that had difficulty meeting even the current standards at the time, and they really wanted the new plant to be one that would reliably and consistently meet and exceed those standards, so they weren't in a position of constantly wondering, is it going to make it this month, is it going to make it this month. That's the first thing they wanted to get out of it. The second thing is the existing plant was getting near capacity. There was growth going on in the community and around the community, so they wanted the new plant to have a larger capacity. So part of this was an expansion of capacity while meeting the new standards. The third thing they wanted to get out of the project is they wanted to have a vision for the future. They didn't want to spend $40 million on a new plant and find that at the end of the day, when it came time for the next upgrade, they just had to tear it down and move on to the next one. So they wanted to be in a position that the plant was expandable, compatible with future expansion, compatible with future standards. And so there was a lot of effort put into the design here, and you'll notice things are spaced out, and if you look at them more closely, to allow for that future growth and expansion down the line. The fourth thing they want to get out of it was their solids handling process. The town of Elkton had composted for many years. And compost is a great product. It's a nice, usable, beneficial reuse product, but there's some negatives, and one of them is that it took a lot of labor effort to make the compost. Second thing is the compost is a very open process, and it's subject to a lot of environmental concerns associated with, let's say, odors and things like that. The third thing is the compost took wood chips as a raw supply to go into it, and the town was finding it harder to obtain wood chips, and the price was going up, so they wanted to look at some other alternatives. So that was the fourth thing they wanted to accomplish, was a new solids handling process, and you'll see the dryer down here, which is a new process, totally contained, totally compact, all automated. And the fifth thing they want to get out of it was odor control, and the mayor mentioned that. The existing plant had numerous complaints about odors. It's right here on Route 40, a major thoroughfare, and so they really wanted the new plant to be built with a design that reduced the odor formation to begin with, and then also controlled the odors, contained them, and had a treatment process to reduce them. So those are the 5 things they wanted to accomplish. And one thing that the mayor and commissioners did that made my job a lot easier and our job a lot easier was that they had purchased the farm field, which was next to the adjacent plant. And that made a huge difference, because now we were sort of, as designers, free to have what would you say, an open canvas to design the plant that met those 5 criteria, and we weren't constrained by having to wedge it in between existing tanks and buildings on a very small property. And the other nice thing about that is it meant we could leave the existing plant running until the new plant was built, and in that way we could keep the environmental standards going as good as possible until the new plant was online, so there wouldn't be a period where we were sort of no longer meeting standards, which you get when sometimes you're trying to take something offline and build something right over top of it at the same time. So all those things made it for, I think, a very successful design. Now, there was one thing working against us, which was really out of our control, and that's, as we were getting ready to bid this project, we found ourselves in one of the hottest construction markets in the world ever. And so we saw a lot of increase in the price of construction labor and a lot of increase in the cost of raw materials, steel, concrete, other components. This is where MD came in a big way with some very generous grant funding for the project that really helped to defer some of that additional cost, and so the town's share was able to be something that they could finance. We also had some federal grants that helped contribute to it. And that grant money was key to making the project go, especially in the era of escalating costs. During the construction, Galway Bay Corporation of Pittsburgh built the plant. They proved to be a great partner, really easy to work with. Really wanted to not make it an adversarial construction project, as sometimes you see, but one we're actually trying to working together, get the job built, get it done right. And then since then, I think Severn Trent's done a marvelous job operating it. And even though this plant is very designed for some of the tightest limits in the country, Severn Trent's actually beating those limits, and sometimes beating them by a lot. So we're seeing the effluent from this facility being honestly as good as any plant in the nation, and it's really quite a compliment to to the whole group. And I think what made it a great project is the cooperation between everybody, from the mayor and commissioners and the other town staff, to the design engineers, to the contractor, to the state regulatory agency, and to the plant operator to make the project a success. And I guess as one final note, I'd certainly like to acknowledge Kelvin George out here, who was my colleague on the project and a big part of the design effort. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Greg Maylard, the president of the Galloway Bay Corporation, was responsible for the plant's construction. So I'd like him to present his comments about the challenges and successful of the construction of the plant. Mr. Maylard?
Maynard.
Project for Galloway Bay we've ever done. And one of the main reasons, or some of the main reasons that is because of a great owner, a great engineering firm, a good design, and also the state of Maryland. And we want, as a contractor, we thank the state of Maryland for providing the dollars for these types of projects. This project typically employed 40 to 50 people. It helped the local economy. We spent money here, and this is one of our few projects that has come in as a final contract price below our bid price. And that is due to the cooperation between all parties. And once again, thank you.